Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, today, guys, we are taking a look at three characters rolled into one, that being Blue Convoy, Delta Magnus, and Shattered Glass Mag here, or as I have come to call him, Skulltra Magnus, because obviously the dude's rocking a skull face, right? You kind of get more of a feel of where this character is, because Shattered Glass Magnus is one of those guys that he offers just enough of a distinct flavor from the regular guy that we get. So I'm excited to kind of delve into this guy, and you can see there's the, oh man, he just looks pretty fearsome. Now, as we can see, he is going to be rocking the red version of the axe sword, and we'll see if it looks any good or continues its terrible track record. However, I do have to actually give thanks to my friend. This is his Shattered Glass Magnus. And just like we saw with Starscream, I love how the Shattered Glass instructions that just makes it all the more interesting. This dude is quite the psychotic savage. Matter of fact, in his fiction, he wears the Delta Magnus face, which is a hologram, until he embraces his more psycho warlord side, and he just drops it and starts wearing the skull face all the time. And this dude right here beat the snot out of Shattered Glass Optimus, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's never been done before.
You know, without the eyes in there, this boy's skeleton face is really kind of freaky. Although I do like the more swept back Batman-esque little, wings on his head. That is kind of cool. But the thing that makes this thing terrifying, aside from not having eyes, is that even when he does, it's still creepy. And, even with the Optimus Prime head crest thingy here, I have to say that I do like this alternate head that they put on him. However, if this is off of him, you can see that we do have Delta Magnus and Mag themselves, and something is a little bit amiss. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I like how the darker colors go with the standard Magnus armor, yet with all the colors flipped around for the Delta Magnus, even the white inner robot looks good with the Delta Magnus armor. However, we will come back to this guy and have the appropriate armor on the appropriate bot after we take a look at something that I'm sort of interested to see. Now, in my own personal opinion, I have to say that I like the Diaclone color scheme a little bit better for the one on the right. However, essentially this is just the same figure, and everything that's white on the left figure for the right one has had either swapped out with a dark blue or a black. And that's basically it. Now, there are some armor pieces, as you saw earlier, that rule does not yet apply. I mean, it's working really well. I do like the darker cab. And with that being said, really, I think there's one other thing that we have to look at with our Shattered Glass Magnus. Now, this thing totally slaps, as you would expect it would, with the other Shattered Glass figures, or even with Shattered Glass adjacent figures, such as Rodimus, or as he's more well known, Shattered Glass Hot Rod. And I like how that there is not just a huge disparity between Optimus and Magnus in vehicle mode. It maintains some sort of sense of scale, and yeah, I am totally down with that, as well as the looks, as you probably have gathered. So here we can actually see the core robot rocking his Diaclone color scheme, and I do have to say that the blue and the black look phenomenal on the core figure. Again, much like in vehicle mode, I think I prefer this color scheme because it is pretty tight. Now, we can see that he is rocking his red rifle. However, we know this is not the only accessory he comes with. He does come with a matrix that, in all honesty, if I would not drop it, it actually is much better done than that of Scourge. However, speaking of Scourge, I am not going to backwalk on my position because, yes, it is a very crap weapon, but the fact that it is in the red that probably Scourge should have had, yeah, it looks right in his hand, even though it individually, it'll never be a good weapon. So my friend actually brought up an interesting idea. He bought the Tenseg Optimus
which is just this core figure in the G1 Optimus Prime style, and he's going to put him in the Shattered Glass Magnus armor. That way, essentially, he can have his cake and eat it too, thereby allowing the Blue Convoy inner robot to remain independent. Now, I am a fan of super modes for the most part, and I kind of wish in some respects this was the super mode because it maintains a little bit of that Optimus aesthetic regardless of which character it is. However, with that being said, I do understand that if you want to consider the Apex armor a form of super mode, that's totally understandable, especially considering how it does change the overall appearance of the character. So while I do love the Batwing Optimus Prime skull face thing that Shattered Glass Mag has, I do definitely prefer the Delta Magnus head and overall look, because one of the funny things about this is the Autobot symbol on his shoulder is purple, and it's showing up quite well on the camera, but in person it is so dark from a distance it looks gray. So it doesn't just definitely scream Shattered Glass if you go with this head. It could be definitely the good Delta Magnus. So whether you like the good or the bad version of Autobots, definitely Magnus is still fulfilling that sort of bruiser quality that you find with this figure. If you guys have seen the comic that comes with this guy, they do show Impactor, but he's rocking the Energon Demolisher color scheme, which in and of itself is sort of a Constructicon reference. And it is really cool. I wish we would get a version of that figure. But alas, back to our boy Mag. Standing here with these guys, you can really appreciate the dynamically different color scheme, which I do believe is, as I've probably said many times in this video, superior to the Kingdom standard release of Ultra Magnus. But again, thank you to my friend for allowing me to review Ultra Magnus. And for everybody, I hope you enjoyed our look at Skulltra Magnus. And until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.